haven't reviewed a single controller I actually like that cost over $100 in over a year, and there's a very good reason for that. Third-party controllers are pretty much better, and first-party controllers still haven't caught on yet. And after this video, it'll probably be really hard to say that we should ever spend over $100 on a PC controller again. This is the $50 EasySMX D10. It's a wireless low latency pro controller. I got two, and it comes in two different colors, purple and green. It also has a bunch of different key features. First of all, it's multi-platform, so it's compatible with the PC, Nintendo Switch, and Android and iOS devices. I think cross-compatibility is nice, but I would mainly recommend this controller for PC because of all the advantages it has for pro-level gaming. I could still say it's a good option for Switch and mobile devices because even though I think it's overkill is really good in this case because it's only $50, and that's like buying a regular controller in the first place. And not to mention, there are still very competitive gamers over on Switch and mobile, so there's not really ever a scenario where I wouldn't recommend it. Next, there are TMR sticks, which are the latest in anti-drift joystick technology. They're slightly better than Hall effect joysticks and have an almost infinite lifespan. Now, I personally can really see no difference between Hall effect versus TMR joysticks. I've played with both, they played exactly the same, but it is nice having the latest technology just because. This is the second time I've reviewed TMR joysticks now, so I'm assuming that they're just gonna become the new thing now, and we probably won't be going backwards to Hall effect joysticks anymore. I probably wouldn't even mind if we did have a few really good newer controllers with Hall effect joysticks, just as long as there's zero stick drift, because it truly doesn't matter if it's Hall effect or TMR to me. Another key feature is the intelligent charging dock, which is a really good option for wireless gamers. If you know me, you know that I do not play wireless much, but this is another option that makes it hard to believe that everything is just $50. Recently, budget controllers have been dominating the more expensive and the more premium controllers, and I'm here for it. Not only do they have almost exactly the same things included, but they have exactly the same or better functionality, all for a lower price. Now, there is a reason for that. This is not a console controller, and I'm sure that plays a part in how cheap it is. But I'm glad we're able to get budget options like this on at least a few platforms, especially PC. Then we have trigger locks, which are one of my favorite features, and I'm glad we're seeing it more on these newer budget controllers. This was something I loved about my $200 controllers, and I couldn't get it anywhere else until recently. Now I'm seeing it in almost every single budget controller I review, and I hope to keep seeing it in almost every single budget controller I review. Trigger stops are something that dramatically changes your reaction time and improves the way that you play, most notably in FPS games and shooters, where little advantages like that actually matter. If I'm playing on any controller in 2025, I promise it'll at least have trigger stops and 2 to 4 back paddles, which this controller also has, because that's pretty much everything that I need. The last key feature listed on the front is Mecha Tactile Buttons, which means every face button will have a mechanical feel. I'm also a big fan of this. It makes the entire controller feel like a mechanical keyboard, and it gives you a nice crisp feedback every time you press a button. I didn't really mind it earlier on, but now I feel like I can't go back to membrane buttons, which are more mushy, and I don't even use face buttons like that. Mechanical buttons are just another feature that we're getting for an affordable price, and they're good for pretty much every game, especially competitive ones. Anyways, those were all of the main key features. There's also one of the most important key features on the back, a 1000 Hertz polling rate, making this controller one of the fastest controllers along with the other highest polling controllers. And if you don't really understand polling rate yet, don't worry, because I'm just starting to get it too, but it's basically how fast the controller is sending input updates to whatever system it's connected to. For this controller and other 1000 Hertz polling rate controllers, input delay is basically nothing. So right now, almost all of the boxes are checked in terms of competitive gaming. My first hands-on impression with the controller was nice. I went with the purple color since it goes with my setup. And as you can see, the controller has an Xbox layout. I had no choice but to get comfortable playing Xbox layout. It's been legitimately the only controller layout I've been using for the past few years. I think this one is a little larger than an Xbox controller, but it all feels normal now and pretty comfortable in my hands. I mainly just got a feel of the controller though. I really like the clicky buttons, which I always do. I checked out the paddle placement towards the back of the controller and that went okay as well. The paddles weren't mechanical, but they did have a snappy feedback and they were comfortably placed too. There was also a nice texture grip on the handles all the way up to the triggers, so there will be less slipping and it just feels better. My favorite thing overall was the hair triggers though. They were exactly what I expected. There was barely any travel. It completely switches your triggers into mouse clicks and they make the whole controller feel complete. For $50, again, we're looking at a pretty solid controller and overall, I think it's impressive. We're gonna finish this video by talking about how to set this controller up. For wireless gameplay, all you need is the charging dock. The charging dock goes into the PC with a USB-C cable and then it will wirelessly charge your controller while docked. There's no software for the controller, you just plug it and play. You can remap the paddles quickly by pressing the M button simultaneously with the paddle of your choice. Then that side of the controller will go white. While it's white, you can record a button or a sequence into the paddle and confirm everything by pressing the same buttons to exit the remapping mode. And it is that easy, you're pretty much done after that. This is one of the most uncomplicated controllers out right now, and if you like simplicity, I would say this is a great option. I didn't have any problems gaming on the controller. I was playing wired, so I never felt any input latency. My joysticks were at the lowest dead zone setting and I never experienced any drift. Also, the joysticks themselves are on the looser side, so if that's something you prefer, you wouldn't have a problem with that. Playing on wireless was also pretty simple. Usually wireless is more of a casual setting, so I didn't have any noticeable input delay and I doubt I ever would when playing. The things I would highlight when I was playing would definitely be the triggers, which I've been loving all video, and the low latency. This controller was really responsive, especially for having no software. I say this all the time, but it's super hard to be strict on a cheaper controller. This one in particular still crosses off way more boxes than it probably should, and my first impressions of it are really decent. I'm also sure that this controller will work really well for like 90% of games you want to play on it, and it could definitely be your go-to controller for whatever game you want to play daily, because for $50, you're getting way more than what you ask for anyway. My overall thoughts are pretty neutral, but I'm leaning more towards positive. The D10 is a great controller. It's not trying to reinvent anything, but it has all of the basics plus all of the premium extras while still being super easy to use. So if you're looking for a simple plug and play solution with reliable performance and with almost zero input latency, you should probably give this one a try. I'll let you guys know if anything changes long term, but I think this is one of the most solid budget controllers in 2025. If you want to buy a D10, I'll link it below for you to check out. If you want me to test out another controller, leave me a comment and let me know because there is a few more I have to check out this year. Anyways, thanks for watching and I'll see you guys next week.